So, we have our first real major injury news of the NBA season. Um, Even I, as somebody, I would consider myself almost a Chet Holmgren hater. Um, I really would. Because I think if you listen to anything I've said about Chet Holmgren, you would know that it's just, I don't see it with the guy, right? And a lot of it has to do with the frame. A lot of it has to do with the mindset. A lot of it has to do with the general culture around these, guys who are big names out of high school, big names in college, and then they get to the NBA and they flop. We see it time in and time out. And I felt like Chet Holmgren was going to be the next version of that. And hey, look, I'm batting 1,000 so far because his first year with the Oklahoma City Thunder, he is going to be out the entire season. There's a couple of factors to this, right? So I'm already seeing articles. I'm already seeing people say things like, "Wow, man, NBA players, teams shouldn't be letting their players play in the pro-am. Teams shouldn't be letting their players play in these games. You don't want your players to play basketball in an intensity situation. If Chet Holmgren was going to break his foot in a pro-am game, he was going to break his foot in practice. He was going to break his foot in an NBA game. If he can't handle a pro-am game, then what the fuck is he doing in the NBA? Like, what the fuck are we talking about with that? The next thing is I do kind of agree. I do kind of agree that some of these players should be held out. But it's really only in the case of Chet Holmgren, or in the case of rookie, second year, or third year guys, or in the case of, if it's a guy where if that guy does go down for a year, it really destroys that team's chances of winning. If, I don't know, let's just say Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, I'm not even going to talk about that because with Paul George, but I mean, like, you get what I'm saying, right? I think we all understand what I'm saying here. But this is also on the player. And this is on the player and the agent. Because I assume Chet Holmgren has an agent, right? I'm not going to look that up because either way, it's useless information to me in my everyday life. But I'm going to assume that Chet Holmgren has an agent. And I'm going to assume that Chet Holmgren and his agent decided it would be a really good idea for them to go play extra basketball. And I get it on both sides. I get it from Oklahoma City's perspective that Chet Holmgren should not have been playing in this. Chet Holmgren should not have been playing in this. At the same time, it's not like he was doing something that no other NBA player is doing. And honestly, the funny part to me about this is, we all wanted to be saying these things about Chet Holmgren over this offseason. What's Chet Holmgren going to be doing when LeBron James is coming at him full steam? Well, LeBron James came at him full steam in a one-on-one situation, and Chet Holmgren broke his foot and is out for the season. Look, these Liz Frank injuries can be career altering. Not just in terms of what it means from having to get the surgery, because if you read articles about Liz Frank injuries and you kind of research, there's chances for permanent damage to those nerves in the foot. And when you're talking about someone who's a 19-year-old, 195-pound guy, and you're already talking about possible permanent damage to the middle of his feet, you're talking about Greg Oden territory. You're talking about bust territory with Chet Holmgren at this point. Now, originally this was going to be like who deserves the blame, but honestly, I don't know if anybody deserves the blame more than anybody else, because I think Oklahoma City should have done a better job of telling Chet Holmgren, no, don't fucking play in this game. I think Chet Holmgren should have been a little bit smarter and said, I probably don't need to play in this game. I already have injury concerns coming into this year. I need to prove to my roster, I need to prove to my coaching staff, I need to prove to my front office that I can withstand a full season And part of withstanding a full season is not playing as much basketball as you can. I understand I said earlier that, you don't want your players playing in a high intensity situation. That's kind of an idiotic request, but at the same time, this isn't even that intense of a situation for Chet Holmgren. And, I get it. He's trying to prove himself. It's LeBron James is driving right at him. He wants to make a play on LeBron James. He wants to make his name known to one of the greatest of all time, and he wants to be respected. But when this happens, when you break your foot trying to play defense, and it's not like he has the wear and tear of a full NBA season. This is in the off season. This is before preseason. Like, this just confirms everything that we thought about Chet Holmgren coming into this year. And if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder, I don't know if you go as far as saying you regret taking him number 2 overall, but you surely do regret the fact that you're not going to get his rookie season. You're going to get it technically next year because since he doesn't play any games, he'll be a rookie next year and blah, 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 blah. But like I said, these Liz Frank injuries are nothing to fuck around with. And he's only 19 years old. And like I said, there's chances for permanent damage to that foot. Depending on how surgery goes and how badly he broke his foot, there's a chance for permanent damage to that foot. And when you're talking about a guy who's only 19 years old and who came into the season, came into the draft, came into his NBA career with very high injury concerns because of his slight frame, this is the worst possible start that could have happened for Chet Holmgren. And even me, who I consider a Chet Holmgren hater, I do feel bad because, look, we won't be able to see Chet Holmgren play basketball. And Chet Holmgren won't be able to see his dream come true at least for another year of being on an actual NBA court. Still, both sides deserve some blame here. Chet Holmgren deserves some blame here for even playing in this game because he should have been a little bit smarter with this situation. His agent probably should have been a little bit smarter with this situation. But the Oklahoma City Thunder also could have told Chet Holmgren, hey man, we need you to play basketball for our franchise, not in some pro-am game. I get it. I get it. You want to, I get it. But we need you to play for our team. We don't need you playing for any other team. We need you playing for our team. We're the ones that pay you the money to play basketball. We're the ones that drafted you second overall, put more assets into you than anybody else on our roster, other than maybe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Josh Giddey. Like, you are kind of the franchise right now, Chet, and you go out and break your foot before preseason. It's not a good look, and everybody loses in this situation. The fans lose, the NBA loses, the Oklahoma City Thunder lose, Chet Holmgren loses. Everybody lost here, and everybody deserves a little bit of the blame.